Hey kids, welcome to the Huron River Watershed. Hey, wouldn't it be cool if this was in 3D? Well, there it is, kind of. I made a model kind of to show what our watershed looks like in 3 dimensions. So hopefully you can kind of follow this along, right? You can see it's high at the top here. This would be like the headwaters if you're looking at your map. And then it would come down a little bit, and on the river there in the middle, there's Milford, let's say, right? You have some water that runs down this way, and it runs downhill. Again, these valley walls are high and run down to the middle, right? And runs down here, and then finally out to, this would be Lake Erie, let's say, right? And so hopefully this helps you a little bit see this in 3 dimensions. The fact that this is running down to the river, but then the whole river is running downhill this way is the idea. Now here we are in Milford, which is great. So let's look at a couple of the questions then. It says, what is a watershed? Of course, that's an area of land. We're worried about the land that all flows into the same water system, in this case the Huron River. So all of this land we see flows downhill into the Huron. Wait, is this land over here part of the Huron River watershed? No, because if the water hits here, it's going to flow somewhere else. I mean, it's going to go down this little river out somewhere. That's a different watershed. We're just worried about the land that drains into our river. That's the only part that's part of the Huron River watershed, right? What does the dotted line on your map represent? Well, it represents this high area of land on the outside. That was like the peak around the valley walls, right? And what happens is when rain hits, let's say over here on this side, it doesn't go into ours. It goes somewhere else. Maybe that's going to flow downhill this way and be part of this guy over here, this watershed. Or maybe the rain that falls over here, right, is going to flow a different direction. So we call this high area of land, that dotted line around your map, we call that a divide, right? A divide is a high area of land that separates one watershed from another, because when the rain falls on one side, it's going to go into this watershed, but if the rain falls on this side, it's going to go down to a different valley, a different watershed. I hope you can kind of see that. That's my idea of the 3 dimension thing. We'll see if that helps out or not. Where will the runoff from the ground and road systems in Milford and Brighton eventually end up? Well, of course, it's going to go downhill. If you're looking at your map, that's going to go through some of the cities like Dexter and Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti, eventually out to Flat Rock, and eventually all the way out to Lake Erie. Is it possible for someone to dump garbage or sewage, or I'm not sure what I say, into Dexter down here and have it affect us up here in Milford? No, because this is slanting downhill this way. So no, the water cannot go uphill. Now we, of course, in Milford, we can dump sewage into the water and it would affect the people down in Dexter, right? But it can't go uphill, no way. So would it really benefit Dexter and Ann Arbor? Let's see, we'll pretend this is Ann Arbor. Would it really help them to have really strict water quality laws if Brighton, here's Brighton, and of course whatever they do is going to go down to the river, and then the river is going to go downhill to Ann Arbor. Does it help Ann Arbor to have really strict water quality laws if Brighton doesn't? And the answer is not really, because if the water is already getting dumped in here with lots of pollutants, it's already coming to Ann Arbor very polluted because they're right on the river there, all right? Now, it would help the cities further down the watershed from Ann Arbor, sure, that would help them a lot, but really if the water is coming to you already polluted, you're in kind of in trouble, no matter what you try to do, right? That's why where we are here in Milford, we're way up toward the top of the watershed. It's really important that we're very smart about what choices we make with the pollutants we leave on land that might get dissolved and work their way down into the river, because that's going to affect all the people downstream from us. So if you were gonna live somewhere in our watershed and you really wanted clean water, where should you live? Well, anywhere up here toward the top in the headwaters. Milford's not bad, but anywhere in this headwaters area is great. I live in Highland, Michigan. It's high land, it's way toward the top, right? That's a great place to live. Or another place you could live, I mean, we don't want to live down toward the bottom, but you can live up near a divide. If you lived way up here on a valley wall, not much pollution could get to you and catch any pollution before it runs downhill. So Brighton's not a bad place. You can look at Chelsea's over here. It's not a bad place. Where you don't want to be is actually on the river, way down the watershed. So I hope that's helpful. I hope you love my 3D model. It's hopefully great. Have a great day.